So that's the situation just outside Gaza, aid waiting to get in via the Rafah crossing. Well, Haitham Hassanain is Adjunct Fellow at the Foundation for the Defence of Democracies. Thanks for being with us, Haitham. Let's talk first of all then about the decision to open Rafah and send in aid. Does this take some pressure off Cairo a little?
Thanks for having me, Laura. Not much. Egypt is still having three major concerns since the war started. One, prevent a refugee crisis that could spill over its territory, and in the Egyptian view, could liquidate the Palestinian issue. Egyptians have long believed that Israel wants to resettle Palestinians in the Sinai Peninsula as an alternative to the two-state solution. Two, Cairo also worries that hosting Palestinian refugees could pose a national security threat. They worry that operatives from Hamas and other Gaza terror groups would infiltrate by posing as refugees and then start launching attacks inside Egyptian territory, which could hurt the Egyptian tourism sector, which provides lots of hard currency to the government. Also, they look at history around them in the region of Palestinian refugee camps and in countries such as Jordan and Lebanon. And this doesn't inspire confidence due to the bloody clashes they got involved in. Three, lastly, in the Egyptian mindset, if the Palestinian refugees were to could attack Israel from Egyptian territory as well, and this could strain Egypt-Israel relations in the future, but because it would invite Israeli military actions within Egyptian territories, and this is the last thing Egyptians want to see. And this is what actually President Sisi even mentioned yesterday in a press conference.
And Haitham, I mean, Egypt was quick to blame Israel for the hospital explosion and saying it was Israel. We know now that is false, and it was a misfired Islamic Jihad rocket. President Sisi himself is calling for more protests against Israel tomorrow. To what extent is this kind of mixed in with Egypt's political situation?
Basically, the Sisi regime is trying to boost the president popularity at the time. As you may know, it's election season. So all of a sudden, when the public starts to see the president and all over the international media, global leaders are coming to meet with him and discuss what's happening in the region, makes the public proud and it makes them confident. It actually restores their confidence in him. So they want to capitalize on that, especially in the past 10 years. The country didn't have much of a regional role because it was so busy with its internal issues. Two, I would argue also it's a way to entertain the Egyptian public because there has been no politics in the country. There has been no cause to mobilize the public around because the president used to give long speeches and everybody listens. Now everybody could go out in the street, mobilize around one cause, chanting slogans, which is seen by the regime as a way to distract them from socio-economic crisis. Obviously, the regime is trying to be careful not to let it be stretched, so they are telling the protesters to go to certain streets or certain neighborhoods, and this is also trying to contain it. One last point, also, they try to compete with the Qataris and the Iranians when it comes to the narrative of Palestine in the region. Cairo wants to depict itself regionally as a defender of the Palestinian people. In past wars, the Sisi regime didn't do much because it was so busy fighting the Muslim Brotherhood and Hamas, which labeled them as terrorists. So whenever there used to be wars with Israel, they used not to be mobilized, and the media didn't discuss that much. Now they see it as an opportunity, since they're taking care of all this, as an opportunity to reinvent their public image in the Arab world.
Oh, interesting. Well, Haitham, another point I think is that Egypt and Israel did share strong security cooperation prior to this. There were even reports that Egypt passed on information about the potential for this attack by Hamas to Israel. I mean, is that security cooperation still feasible, given what's happened and given the level of public anger in Israel, against Israel in Egypt?
Let's put it this way, the level of trust that was developed in the past 10 years between both sides is likely to sustain that. No doubt about that. And the Sisi regime is wise enough not to sympathize with Hamas because they understand it's a terrorist organization and they have no respect to it, and they fought it for many years. But as I said earlier, they worry about Palestinian refugees coming to Sinai. So this is why they are trying to mobilize the public to send a message to the whole international community, not even to think about the idea.
All right, Hassanain at the FDD. Thank you very much indeed. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.